Hello and welcome. This is Play That Game. My name is Volker and I will play that game. Today we are continuing our journey in Roadwarden. Last time we survived the first day, discovered the military camp, found just 2 people left there, and we finished by getting off to sleep. So let's continue. You're woken up by sunlight, well rested and ready. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple of breaths, you notice a weird smell, like a roast. No, burning meat. Burning rotten meat. Disgust crawls into your consciousness. You exit the tent. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you had left them. You see an open gate. I go outside to see what's happening. Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it contemplatively. Tulia is the first one to address you. "Declan," she greets you with a nod. "We used the horse's manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up." You see a corpse among the flames. It is impossible to tell if it belongs to a male or a female, but it was an adult. The burning process won't be over for a couple more hours. A traveler or an undead? The latter, a young one. She lacked the pneuma to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. I stabbed her with a spear from a safe distance. She shifts her weight. One more fog and she'd be a real threat. Even now it took a couple of hits to knock her down. Where are we? What's going on here? Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up, gaining more strength with each soul it devours and each moment it spends in the fogs. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even road wardens. Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Tulia calls this undead a she. Most unites hesitate to do so. Time for me to leave. Running away from the reek, huh? I don't blame you. She walks with you for a few steps. Find us here if you need us, or if you learn what happened to Asterion. There's enough ground here for you to rest. Safe travels. These words make you stop. An old farewell, mocked in a number of songs and tales, but yet you hear no scorn in Tulia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you are going to experience in the days to follow. She returns to the pyre. I prepare myself for the journey. You somehow miss the fact that your mount is already saddled and warmed up. You double-check the equipment, but you don't need to fix anything. The soldiers were diligent. Normally, preparing any palfrey for a long journey takes a lot of time. You put on your gamson and make sure that your axe is tightly attached to your belt. Then get in the saddle. The palfrey nickers, ready to leave. It's time for you to get to the crossroads, north from here. So let's go to travel. I'm still a bit shocked about this burning stuff, especially as he asks undead. So if we die, we turn undead like zombies, or what's going on here? Let's travel. Travel forward to continue your journey. Once you are done with the north, speak with Tulia to return to Hoflavon. Travel north. Nothing more we can do here. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travelers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find the pack of four-legged griffins. They are larger than foxes and merge the features of birds and furred beasts. Each one is of a different size, coat and colors, and their temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, while their rears have darker fur. Their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they are too heavy to fly. About 24 beasts are yelling, brawling and chasing each other around, blocking your path. I consider my options. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase after you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travelers stay as close to the main roads as possible, and why adventurers move in groups. Usually, the safest approach would be to stay where you are and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take up to a couple of hours. You're thinking about your conversation with Tulia. You've got a lot to do, and time may be of the essence. If you have any vitality points, you can use the warrior's training to access unique interactions. So we could take the axe and hurry the horse. If we ride fast enough, we should be fine. I should stay here, better safe than sorry. I grab my crossbow. A light hit should be enough to make them scatter. So, and here we have this dice symbol. The dice icon marks the actions that involve a random chance. Okay. Or we could use force too. Let's grab the crossbow. A light hit should be enough to make them scatter. Crossbows are an easy weapon to use, and you've got plenty of time to aim. The creature falls on its side and screams, alerting its companions. Confused, they look around, and after a while, they run away, one of them limping, with your quarrel in its teeth. I ride forward. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe inn by turning left. The forest to the right is lush and the trail overgrown. Kids used to have this song, How Did It Go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search for treasure, do you truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make your situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't write, for folks who can't read. Covered in old red paint, it points east. Blood there, as people say, danger to be found. There's not a soul to ask for guidance. I look at my horse. What's its name? What do we call our horse? What's a good horse name? Let's call our horse Ludmilla. Ludmilla is peaceful as you stroke its mane. Maybe it can't help you choose a path, but you've spent many years together. Happy to go on, it takes a couple of steps forward. You spot a few berry shrubs and wild cabbages, but they still need at least 2 weeks to gain maturity. We travel on and let's explore west. Let's get to the inn. I hope it's the right path. Ludmilla trots with ease, unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant howls draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, roe deer, and saurians. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forward and your palfrey enters a canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. You notice a stone tower, taller than the trees. It must be the inn I've heard about. Inns like this one fit the regions traveled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There are seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide, if not in the building, then at least in the yard. The expenses and labor put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. 3 armed people are on the ramparts, though you only see what's above the waistline. They are leaning on the parapet right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gamsons. Each one of them dyed differently, yellow, green, and linen grey. So let's approach the gate. A woman in yellow armor leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair, pointing in every possible direction. This combination of colors doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I haven't seen a horse for years now. I just said that it's weird to see such a last jackass, huh? Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages spread around Hoflavan. But no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanges a few words with the male guard wearing green, giving you time to move closer. While this one here says, there really are donkey saddles. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? Be friendly, be playful, distanced, intimidating, vulnerable. Well, we are coming to the end. We want to have a good rest here, probably learn something about the area and the inn itself. So let's try friendly. How about you give it a try? She gasps. Seriously? Just a moment. She disappears behind the wall, and soon after that the gate is opened. While you dismount next to the wood-splitting spot, a couple of people surround you, pointing at your mount and commenting on its appearance, though they step away whenever Ludmilla makes a rapid movement. The guard in the yellow armor is the only one who steps forward. She raises her hands, as if to pet your palfrey, but doesn't touch it. It looked smaller from above, she whispers loudly. How do I even get up there? It's not easy when you lack confidence. Better use a stool, or I can help you. She touches the animal, which pays no attention to her presence. Now I'm really scared. She contradicts her words with a gentle smile and shining eyes. Maybe I should wear something lighter. You nod and engage in a bit of a chit-chat with the entire group, discussing what it takes to take care of a horse. Finally, the red-haired woman leads you under the roof where your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post, near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside, speak with our boss. Maybe you are hungry? The other guards return to various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then as they are splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head toward the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boa from the other side of the yard. I open the door. So if you're at an inn in the morning, you can spend the entire day on resting. I mean, we're feeling pretty well. However, nourishment is at 1 of 4. I guess we would need something to eat. And maybe clean ourselves a bit, but let's see what we can do. The locked window makes the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads behind the corner. You're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft, with a city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I've a keg of decent ale, wormwood, bog myrtle, juniper berries, cat's food. He fills the mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon. Today maybe, and we don't drink here before the even. I hate to see the good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and his hair is naturally bluish. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. The elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. I stand at the counter. The planks let out a creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little to no noise. Here you go. He pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pelt of the north doesn't belong to Hovlavan. You can sleep on the floor if you wish so, but if you want a bed or a meal, you have to pay. We may have some leftovers from dinner, but I need to check. Now let's stay friendly. Thanks for the drink. I see you know how to make friends with a Roadwarden. He meets your eyes with a puzzled look, then grabs a wet cloth and starts to wipe down the shelves. From time to time, your conversation is interrupted by splashes of dirty water in a wooden bucket. Well, nothing is truly free. I have worked for a soul of the road, but I don't need the new mouth to babble. He speaks slowly, yet audible. I value my time, you should value yours. I drink the ale. The dark room and wooden walls of the mug make the liquid look as brown as a chestnut. The lee in spring hits your nose, and the first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the bluer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. Now you know why there's so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to see someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe you will help me with a worrying thought I have. Which is? There are brigands in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike, but they've gotten more active in the last 2 years. One day they may steal our furs, and I've no doubt they've the reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Howler's Dell, northwest from here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Thayers, the mayor, about Clausia, that bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about a raid in the north. If Clausia's ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of her band. He looks at a nearby dragonbone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have a chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. I pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. Fine? I nod. Great, what else do you need? I could eat something. Do you have any leftovers? Yeah, let's ask for something to eat. Yes, I feed them to our boar. I won't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gate and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucket full. You'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway, and I'll prepare something to fill you. The hook is not made of wood or wood. It's a long, curved claw, almost black. I reach for the tools. Half an hour? That's quite a lot for berry picking. The tools are cold, not too heavy. You notice a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. Ah, the berries are not a problem, the innkeeper smirks. Unlike the snakes. Better scare them away with a stick or move them with a hook, and protect your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Fine, I'll go right away. You step outside. Ludmilla is looking around. At this hour, the armorer's workshop is closed. I should go outside and forage for berries. So at least we will be fed if we get enough berries. The innkeeper knew what he was talking about. You put on the gloves and look through the bushes from a safe distance. It doesn't take long before you notice the first serpent lying on a rock somewhere in the thicket. The creatures are not that large, and even if some of them hiss at you or slither closer, the jabs of the hook keep them at a distance. You don't know much about these berries. They are round and reddish. You wouldn't trust such a color, even if you were looking for food in the wilderness. The plants don't have thorns, but the leaves are harsh, so you make sure to thoroughly cover your skin with your cloths. You have to look through many bushes to fill the bucket, but the presence of insects and snakes doesn't allow you to relax. I gather the berries and go back to the inn. You've returned to the courtyard. 2 of the guards are participating in a friendly skirmish. Their wrestling is accompanied by a crowd. I enter the inn. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. The innkeeper is sitting at the stove, cleaning a set of metal tools and ladles. "So, you again. Need anything?" I put his fruit on the counter. "Great," he peeks inside the bucket. "I've got cabbage stew with a few goose chunks for you. I'd serve it even to merchants if there were any around." The meal is warm and filling. It's well seasoned and not overcooked. And like I've said, I rarely have food to spare, but feel free to ask if you ever stop by. You may be lucky, and I've been cooking my whole life. "Thanks. And how did that old hook of mine work out for you? I see you still have your hands." I give him the hook. "I'm fine." He takes the tools from you and nods. "Need anything else?" "I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Roadwarden." "Are you now?" He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. "I don't think I'm going to be of much help." He rests his elbow on the tabletop and grunts quietly to clear his throat. "But I do want you to find him, so..." When asked about his intentions, he measures his words. "Asterion and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins, my half of the investment." He knocks on the table with a fist, anxiously. "If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news." Could it be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away? He looks at the window and starts to play with a shutter. I just think Asterion ain't the kind of soul that would do such thing. For him it wasn't much of a fortune, and I'd risk saying he had earned my trust. Not only mine, you know. It's easy for a Roadwarden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb, as if trying to clean an invisible stain. "I've asked travelers. I've sent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in White Marshes for a day and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the box, then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So let me know once you find anything, and we may yet return to this whole investment thing. I'll think about it." He nods. "What else do you need?" So I didn't expect to find an inn of this size here. "Ah, so you know a thing or two after all." His mocking tone is soon replaced by a gentle smile. "It was built long before we arrived. It didn't work out well for the previous owners. Once the war ended, they left. Not enough travelers. Bad trade. The villagers stick to themselves. We, however, came prepared. And now we are prospering." When you ask him how they can afford all the supplies, he runs his fingers through his dark hair. I'm not against running an inn, but we don't rely on guests. We're the ones doing all the trading. My hunters are a clever bunch and stay safe in the forest. In exchange for furs, claws and bones, we get what we need, and more, both from the south and the north. He relaxes in his chair. We have a good life here. We spent a whole lot on armor, crossbows, lumber, spares, but in another 10, maybe 20 years we'll have enough savings to move to Hovlavan and not work for another day in our lives. We take risks, but smartly. The team is stronger than ever, and I have big plans for us. It's surprising to find the purple-skinned man so far in the north. I ain't seen a soul looking like this since my ma died, he shrugs. It's not a fascinating tale. Let's just say I wasn't a part for the invasion. Yet I'm glad it freed all those who were chained by the cities and their corsairs. He looks at the wall. I'm Jason, by the way, but I rarely hear the name. I return to my other questions. What can you tell me about the peninsula? What could anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name, unless there is an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what I'd call everything from here to the coast? The hunting ground. He glances at your eyes. But it's not us who hunt, keep that in heart, but the beasts in all shapes and forms. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived in this inn for over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just, once you get here and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you have only more reasons to stay in the warm stove behind the wall. Even if it's suffocating. He looks toward the windows. I'm sure you've heard a lot already, that the people don't build hamlets anymore. There are no more ibexes from the south, and the traders stay for only a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. Are the eastern roads as rough as I've heard? Pretty much. Don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here you find an old dolmen. A few of my people had to spend the night there, and monkeys stole food and gods from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fallen asleep in the middle of his watch, but you know. The eastern forests are wild. The roads are rough. Almost no soul lives there. One day all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. The furthest my team has ever gone was the home of the Enchantress. You stay on track until you reach the crossroads, right near an abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east. You recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow, surrounded by a wall. He looks toward the closed window, then at you again. Kind of like our walls, but simpler, without coating. She lives as a hermit. Eudokia. I don't even know how she survives there. But if you don't have decent coin, you won't find much there. So back to the crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. It connects the tower and the monastery, a shortcut between the two sides of the peninsula. I was warned by the locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. Have you ever been to the northern coast? I only know about another inn. It's far from here. Maybe a day on foot, a bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place, close to villages of fishers and hunters, though I don't know much about them. What will I find traveling west? Well, there are hills nearby. Then you'll find the village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Nothing to see there. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it. And they say it's haunted. But who knows? Who cares? He crosses his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You'll get a large tree on the edge of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing someone mentioning pagans as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small path south, which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there, but keep riding north and you'll find Howler's Dell, set at a clean brook. Farmers live there, and mufflons and druids. They let you stay for a night, but they are not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to the Ape Ale Inn yet. He lets out a gentle smile. I smile politely. I know only a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagus. The soil there ain't too fertile, so they work in their quarry and help other settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forest and hills ain't too harsh, but the seekers have a small monastery nearby, in the mountains. I don't care much about them. They keep to themselves and they don't pay well. The third village is unknown to me. White marshes, set at the bogs. I've heard it smells like a griffin's lair. I've heard a lot of nasty rumors about the place, but I won't share them. I don't want to be a lie spreader. So 3 villages, really. Howler's, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you, though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if it's something he would tell other travelers as well. That's all I need. Any rumors worth sharing? He crosses his arms. I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby. Show me first that you are someone worth changing habit for. Let's have a rest before we move on. Resting at the inn. You'll spend the entire day taking care of smaller chores and allowing your shell and soul to rest. It's been a lazy day, repairing your equipment and taking care of your mount. Didn't take nearly as much time as you'd expected. And you instead enjoy some refreshing water, observe your surroundings with a clear head, wander about and stretch out. After a few hours you feel rather bored, but at least you have an opportunity to gather your thoughts. At one point, the innkeep invited you for a drink, asking you about the news. Sitting beneath an open window, 3 guards are arguing about something, but then ease the tension with friendly banter. The innkeeper is standing behind the counter, preparing a set of mugs. Let's go to sleep, spend the night here and start a new day with a good rest and fresh before we get on the road to explore the peninsula further. Sleeping on a bench. It's for free. Your blanket won't be much of a bed. The staff will keep opening the nearby door, walking around or talking with one another. Sleeping here will be rather uncomfortable. Or sleeping in a room, a comfy bed with a clean blanket in an isolated chamber. You also get a large breakfast, a wash tub with water and soap, and some cloths to wash your teeth. That sounds good. We should spend that 1 coin. Because we look really not well. So, I would say after we had a good night rest, we will start next time our journey on in Roadwarden. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good time. See you next time. Bye bye.